Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to redo I don't know what it was called. One of the blocks I did, Sunset, I believe. The video, I don't know, something I must have said in it or something triggered something and I don't know. It wasn't like comments on and I don't know, it just frustrated me. So I'm going to redo it. So I'm going to do it. It was this block here. Let me show you. I believe it was called Sunset. So it's part of my Harry Potter quilt. I'm just going to make another one. I do have two of another one that I used to do two different colors in each one. So this one, I'm going to do the yellow and green. So then that one will kind of tie in. There'll be a couple of them, not just one. And you might actually get to see the video. I don't know what happened to it. So I did go and I found this new fabric. I have one like this. It's almost exactly, but this one has the words in it. And these people were not on the other one. So I thought I'll tie everything in. So we're going to fussy cut this. I need 4 of them, and we're just going to fussy cut it. And if you don't know what that means, we're going to lay out the exact pieces we want and cut around it. So we might waste a little fabric, but again, I don't really waste fabric. All my fabric gets used. So let's see, what do I want? I want him in there, but he's on here several times. Okay, so I'll just start at the beginning. I'm going to have 4 different pieces, and I need them to be 5 inches. Yeah, 5 inches. So we're just going to, see, I got my salvage here too. So I'm just going to go right here. I want him to be the center of it, really. And I'm just going to cut here. Normally, I would use my 5-inch square, but I honestly have no idea where it is. I think it's wherever I left my stuff that I was cutting for the old man quilt. But I'll find it eventually. I'm going to go up a little because I want him to be kind of in the middle. I want this in there. So we're just going to slice through here. Move that to the side, and then we're going to turn it around. And we're going to do the 5-inch squares, or 5-inch lines. And then this. Now this will go for my pillow stuffing. This, it doesn't make any sense to the outside eye, but I'm going to put it on my scrap quilt, my, what do you call that? I don't know what you call it. My crumb quilt. Because I'll know what it is. And that's for me anyway. So I'm going to save that for that. And there's piece 1. Now I want to put Ron and Hermione on there. But I might have to do them separate. Because that would work. Well, that'll work. That'll work. I'm going to put them together. Which is kind of cool because, you know, they got married in that movie. Well, except I need it cut up a little, huh? Okay. So we're going to start with, no, I know I did that because I need Hermione. There's my 5. So I need it to be down here. So then I'll turn it around. That won't work, will it? It's not going to work. We're just going to do Ron on this one. It's okay. See what I mean by wasting a little fabric, but it's going to be what I want. So, and again, like these pieces, I'll put them on my quilt, my crumb quilt, because I know what they are. And if anybody asks, I'll be like, yeah, they go to the Harry Potter quilt I made Sean. That's my son's name. I realized I never told you my kids' names until right there. My kids are in school now. They just got off their Easter vacation. And I literally just got them on the bus. This I'll save because I might need a smaller square for later on, another block. There's 2. So we have Harry and Ron. And I want these 2 right here. And then we'll do Hermione, and that'll be it. See, if you had the 5-inch square, it would literally just show you what you're cutting. But, like I said, I have it. I just don't have it with me. Or out, rather. Let's line up the 5. Save that piece too. If I don't use it later on, I'll use it on a crumb quilt. And then we need Hermione. And that should be good right there. Cut that off. And I want this piece up here. Spin it around. So I don't know what happened on the first video. I didn't have any sound for like 2 minutes into that first video. And I'm not sure why, because I didn't do anything different and then it just popped on working. So I thought I'm going to redo it and we'll see how it goes. Turn my iron on so I can iron these flat. Okay, so now we're just going to sew these two down. These two are 3-inch strips. I think they're 3-inch by, I want to say 12. No, yeah, 12 and a half. But I only needed 12 because we're going to cut them into 3-inch halves when we're done. I'm just going to sew a line down these. I'll take you with me. That way you can watch. I'm still using both. The diagonal seam tape is on there and I have my 1/4-inch foot on there. I'm going to use this. I don't have any other pieces to sew right now. Alright, let's head back over. Where? Alright, we'll iron this open. I'm just going to iron it to the black because when I can, I like to iron it to the dark side. I also wanted to iron these flat. I really like this iron, you guys. Not that the other one was bad, but this one has a bigger surface area and it glides just a little bit smoother. I'm going to put this on here. This, I think this makes it lay flat. I don't use it all the time, but I think it does help. Alright, now we're going to trim this down to an even end. And now we're just going to line up any one of our lines here on our stitch line, the seam line. And we're going to trim this off. This is why I went a little bit over on the cutting of it, because I always like to cut a little extra just in case. Because you never know when you're going to sew crooked or anything's going to come off a little wonky. Okay, so now we're going to just cut. I lined up my 3-inch line here and here, just because they fell in the middle. And we're going to cut 4 of these. We're going to make one into a 4 patch and the other 2 are going to go sewn to these half green pieces. Excuse me. If you watched the first video, I appreciate that. I do apologize. I don't know where my sound was on the beginning of it, but I appreciate you watching it. So here's these 2 half pieces. So these are 3 inches by 5 inches. These, I needed 2 5-inch squares of, this is 4 5-inch squares, this is 2 5-inch squares, and whichever one you did 2 of, you had to do 2 half size. And when I say half size, I mean include your seam allowance, so that when you sew, if you sewed these two together, it would be 5 inches. It would measure that. So we're going to lay them there. We're going to go ahead and put this together. This will be our middle piece, our 4-patch. Okay, now this one goes up here and one goes at the bottom, and we're going to sew these in the middle of it. One of them is going to end up being upside down. So I'm actually going to make it this one, because you can't actually, I mean, it's upside down, but really, who cares? And these may be a little bit wider there. See, I cut them a little bit wide, but that's okay. You're going to trim it down. Actually, let's trim it down now. No, let's not trim it down now. Yeah, let's not. Let's just sew this. Yeah, we better. So we're going to trim a little off. We want it to be 2 1/4. No, we don't. We want it to be, yeah, 2 1/4. No, 2 1/2. Because 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2 is 5, and that's what we want it to be. So you're going to line up your 2 1/2. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I take you with me through my thought process. Yeah, because we're going to trim them, we're going to turn it around, and we're going to trim this part off. So you line up your 2 1/2 line right there on your stitch line. And we're going to do the other one after we sew it, because it is a half square triangle. So, no, it's not. It is a 4-patch. Line up that again, and that should line up your 5-inch line on the edge there. Those will be pillow stuffings. Now we're going to go ahead and pin this. Right, well, should have done it that way to start with. I'd like to take you through my thought process with me, because sometimes I mess up, and I assume you might too. So then you can see how I fixed it. It might not be how you fix it, and if you have better tips or whatever, please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. So this one will go upside down, which again, that's because I didn't cut separate little 3x3 squares. If you want yours to be perfect, cut them 3x3 and sew it upside down, or sew them, it is upside down, sew them separately. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh my gosh, it's early, you guys. I don't know. All right, let's sew all these up. Might run out of thread in my bobbin. Let me keep my hand out of the way for y'all to see it. All right. And then this one will be a little bit bigger. We're going to trim it after we sew it. Hopefully it'll line up there. Close enough. Let's head back on over to the cutting, ironing, viewing station. We'll cut them apart. We'll iron them open. I'm going to iron these two open to the green side because, well, you know why. There's no seam on there. It'll lay flatter. This one is gonna, doesn't matter, it's gonna be the same either way. Now, if I had cut those strips into blocks, I could have cut them exactly and I wouldn't have had to trim this part. But again, I like to show you different techniques. So we're going to line up the 2 1/2 point in the middle. Because again, we want it to be 5 inches because we want it to be the same size as our other blocks. So that will line up the point and then line up the lines, because you don't want to line up the point in it to look like this. Although that would make a pretty cool square. And maybe we'll do freestyle sometime, but not today. Trim it off. All of it off. Spin it around. Same thing. Line up your point and your lines, and that will also line up your 5-inch line down and across. And then we'll trim these off. And again, my pillow is almost stuffed. Once I get it stuffed, I'll show you, and then we'll start another one. Now, all of our little squares are made. We just have to lay it out. So these are going to be our corner pieces. It does not matter to me who goes where. However, it does matter to me that they are all face up. So we're going to lay them just like that. These two are going to go here. Right side up. And then these are going to alternate, which is why one of them had to be upside down. Well, two of them, because these are both upside down. Again, it's directional. If you don't like it, cut them into squares, and I could have sewn them straight, but I didn't. I wanted it like this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. See, these are too big. I have to trim these down because this was too big. I cut those a little big, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this. No, I'm not. I'm going to pile this up, and I'm going to trim this down. Again, not a big deal. You just have to know what you're doing, or, see, the whole thing is too big. So we'll just line up the 2.5 point right there. Okay? And the lines. The 2.5 point and the lines. It's right on the side. It's just the top and bottom that were too much. Now you can line up the 5-inch line down here. Point and lines. And that'll line up the middle one there. And you'll just trim that off. And the top didn't have any, so I don't need to. Then this one, same thing. Line up your 2.25 or 2.5. I apologize. And this one has a little on the side. I would much rather trim down. Now, if I didn't use that for stuff, maybe I'd feel different. But I do, so I would much rather trim down and have extra than have to redo it because I didn't cut it big enough. But again, that's not for everybody. Do it however you want. All right, now we'll lay these back out. Now, we'll just sew them together. So these two, and these two. And I'm going to take you with me to the sewing machine, and then I'm just going to reach over and get them. So we're going to be at the sewing machine until I sew all the rows. And then we'll come back and iron it open and pin the rest. Okay, so I'm just going to pick them up one at a time. One set at a time. See, I used to pin them there, but now that you're watching me sew, we're just going to do it this way. And sometimes I still pin. I'm a little more confident on these little pieces that I don't always. And you guys, I don't know. I'm not a professional. I want you to know. I'm learning still every day. And if you have tips, please let me know in a nice way. We don't need attitude. I mean, it won't bother me, but it's not necessary. It bothers some of my other subscribers, I guess. But anyways, let me know if there's a different way. I'll try it. I'd be more than happy to try it. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. But then I'll have known. All right. You don't know what you like until you try them. So I encourage you to try different techniques. If somebody else said, oh, there's an easier way, let me know. I like easier ways. And I'll try them with you guys, so even better. Now these, you do have to be careful. Make sure you keep them in the same order because you don't want to mix them up. I've done it. You've seen me do it where we have to rip it out and redo it. If anybody tells you they don't make mistakes, I think they're probably blowing smoke. And if I was a perfectionist, I would not be sewing. Because, whew, I'd have to be on some medicine. Alright, our rows are all sewn. Honestly, normally, if I was not videotaping this, I would have cut the first 2 off. And I would have ironed them and sewn them. And then sewn them through. And then used the thing. I wouldn't use that right there. But I like to show everything. Now, I'll tell you what else I'm going to do. And this is a little difficult, we'll say. I'm going to iron it while they're still attached so they don't get mixed up. So we're going to iron the top ones to... No, we're going to iron the top ones to the inside because that middle block will get too bulky if there's too much on it, you think? Because it's a 4-patch and there's already a lot of bulk. The only problem with this is not taking them apart, I'm saying, is it does... I guess it would have been the same bulk in it either way. It does get a little difficult keeping them straight. Sorry, sometimes I can't concentrate and talk. So I'm going to try to finish up the Harry Potter one this month. I've got all of them set. Well, that's a lie. I'm probably going to get all the blocks done this month. But not the actual quilt. But I'm working on it. It's a good thing my kids love me. I've been working on it for a while. So now, double check that you didn't get them mixed up. They are in the right order, which they are. So we're going to fold this down, pin our seams. I'm going to pin here at the end too. What did I do? Oh, that's what I did. Repress it just a minute. I'm going to pin at the beginning. And actually there's a seam here in the middle to line up. So if you've pinned the other two and you've done all your sewing right, it should line right up, which mine did on this side. Let's try this side. And I don't pin away from me, so I need to do it this way. I'm going to be doing some applique. So I have that red blanket, red and white, that I made the first quilt along I did. It was actually for my niece. I didn't use any rulers or the rotary cutter or anything because she didn't have any of that. So I learned a little bit from that blanket, that quilt. It is coming apart on the edge, like where it was quilt as you go, and where I attached it and folded it over. If you'll notice now when I do that, I say when you're sewing them together, try to sew on the fabric because my fabric has pulled out a little bit. And instead of trying to attach it or, repair it, I'm actually just going to cut out with my Cricut. I'm going to cut out some hearts or, stars. I don't know, a diamond. I don't know, something. And we're going to applique it over where the fabric has come out because it's easier. And I wanted to do applique anyway, so I'll practice on it. It was kind of a practice quilt anyway. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to film it. I'm going to upload it. And then that's going to be my practice stuff. And then I'm actually going to do some real, not that that's not real applique, but I'm going to do some real, a different quilt with some applique blocks throughout the year. I've also started to hand quilt on some of the blocks I've done before on the channel. And I'm going to make a quilt out of them, and I'm just going to call it like my YouTube quilt or something, I don't know. But it's going to I don't know if I'll show the hand quilting. I was going to, but there's really not much to show. So maybe I'll just show one, and that's how they're all going to be, really. Because I feel like hand quilting would be all the same. You just pick which lines you're going to follow. But maybe. Let me know if it's something you want to see. We'll do it if you want to see it. I'm up for it if you're up for it. Yeah, it's going the right way. Sorry. I know my hand's in the way there, guys. Sorry. When I get to seams matching up or whatever, I need my hand in there. So sorry if it's in your way, but it had to be done. All right, block's done. Let's see what we've got. Now we're just going to iron it to the top and the bottom. Just because I'm actually going to press those seams a little bit better. Oh, I like it. This one might be prettier than the other one. I have a couple more from the Christmas quilt along that I want to redo for blocks on this Harry Potter quilt. So we're going to redo those. So there it is. It is called Sunset. I do believe it's called Sunset. Let me double check. I'm sorry. Sunset Light is what it's called. Yeah, Sunset Light. So there you have it. This one went a little crooked, but kind of like that house that Ron lives in, isn't it? I like it. So there you go. It is Sunset. I hope there's sound throughout this whole video, or I just wasted more time. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.